Go home!
Welcome back to Your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. The first trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day has finally arrived, and honestly, there's a lot going on here. After the emotional ending of Spider-Man No Way Home, fans were wondering where Peter Parker's story could possibly go next. That movie wiped Peter out of everyone's memory thanks to the spell cast by Dr. Strange, leaving him completely alone in the world. No friends, no Avengers backing him up, and not even the people he loves remembering who he is. So this new trailer doesn't just tease another superhero adventure. It really feels like the beginning of a completely new chapter for Spider-Man in the MCU, and the trailer wastes absolutely no time reminding us of that reality.
My name is Peter Parker.
Peter's lonely new life. The trailer opens with Peter Parker hanging upside down while scrolling through his phone, which instantly feels familiar if you've watched the animated Spider-Verse films. The shot mirrors moments from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, where characters like Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy are shown casually defying gravity in their own Spider-style way. It's a cool visual callback that immediately reminds us how deeply Spider-Man culture has expanded across Marvel's different universes. But what really hits is the voiceover. Peter is reading the letter he wrote to MJ back at the end of No Way Home. That letter was supposed to explain everything, who he is, what happened, and why she forgot him. But we already know he never actually gave it to her. Instead, he chose to let her live a normal life without the danger that comes with knowing Spider-Man. Hearing him read that letter now tells us something important. Peter might have moved forward, but emotionally, he's still stuck in that moment. He's still holding on to the past.
And sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart.
MJ and Ned watching from afar. Then the trailer cuts to something pretty surprising. MJ and Ned are sitting together watching TV, and on the screen, Spider-Man is being honored with the key to the city. That's a huge public recognition for a hero who used to be treated like a menace in New York. But what makes this scene even more interesting is who appears to be presenting the award. It looks like Sheila Rivera, a political figure connected to Wilson Fisk from Daredevil Born Again. If that's actually the case, it could place this moment before Fisk's rise to power as New York's mayor, because in the comics and recent MCU projects, Fisk eventually declares war on vigilantes. So the idea that the city's political climate hasn't turned against superheroes yet, but it might very soon. And meanwhile, MJ and Ned are just watching this hero on TV without realizing they used to be their closest friends.
What is happening to me?
Punisher enters the fight. One of the biggest surprises in the trailer is the sudden appearance of the Punisher. Fans of the Marvel Netflix shows already know him well, but this is the first time we're seeing him fully integrated into the big screen MCU alongside Spider-Man. The moment happens during an intense chase scene involving an armored vehicle tearing through the streets in New York. Then suddenly a battle van pulls up, and there he is. John Bernthal reprises his role as Frank Castle, and the interaction between him and Spider-Man is exactly the kind of chaotic energy you'd expect. Punisher is ready to unleash some serious firepower, while Peter clearly wants to keep things a little less lethal. At one point, Spider-Man literally webs up Punisher's mouth to stop him from yelling or swearing. And it's one of those moments that perfectly shows the difference between these two characters. One of them believes in justice without killing. The other believes criminals don't deserve mercy. Seeing those two clash could become one of the most interesting dynamics in the entire film.
Spiders have 3 life cycles.
MJ might have moved on. Another scene in the trailer takes place at what looks like a party inside MJ's apartment. And here's where things get a little awkward for Peter. Standing next to MJ is a new character played by Iman S. Fondi. If you recognize him, it's probably from Ahsoka. Now fans are already speculating about who he might be playing. Some believe he could be the MCU version of Paul, a controversial character from recent Spider-Man comics who becomes MJ's boyfriend. That storyline wasn't exactly popular with comic readers, but the MCU might be adapting it in a different way. If that's the case, Peter watching MJ build a new life with someone else would add another painful layer to his current situation. He saved the world, but it cost him everything.
What the hell, Frank? You just hit me with a van!
Put your whip ring.
Peter's strange new powers. Then things start getting weird. Peter suddenly wakes up trapped inside a massive web cocoon high above the city. And here's where the shocking part. He doesn't have his web shooters. That means the webbing didn't come from his technology. It came from him. This suggests Peter might have developed organic webbing, which longtime fans will recognize from older Spider-Man stories and from Tobey Maguire's version of Spider-Man in Spider-Man. But the trailer hints that these changes might be part of something much bigger. His body is evolving, possibly mutating even further. And when Peter doesn't understand what's happening to him, there's really only one Avenger he can turn to. Bruce Banner steps in. Peter eventually seeks help from Bruce Banner, played once again by Mark Ruffalo. Considering Banner is one of the world's leading experts on gamma radiation and biological mutation, he's probably the perfect person to analyze whatever is happening to Peter's DNA. There have also been rumors that Banner might transform back into the more savage version of the Hulk during this story, which would be a big shift after years of the calmer Professor Hulk personality. If that happens, Peter might accidentally find himself dealing with two very different versions of Banner, the brilliant scientist and the unstoppable monster.
We are faced with a danger that we can't control.
The mystery of the yellow hood. The trailer also introduces a mysterious figure wearing a yellow hood. We never clearly see their face, but the shots surrounding them show people acting strangely, almost like their minds are being controlled. That detail has led many fans to believe that the film might be introducing a new version of Jean Grey. Now that would be huge. Jean Grey is one of the most powerful mutants in Marvel history thanks to her telepathic and telekinetic abilities. If this theory is correct, the MCU might be slowly bringing the X-Men into Spider-Man's world, and that would explain why people in the trailer appear to be mentally possessed or manipulated. But until we see more footage, that yellow-hooded character remains one of the biggest mysteries in the entire trailer.
DNA is mutating. Could be enormously dangerous.
Scorpion finally returns. Another long-awaited moment happens when we finally see the return of Scorpion. Fans might remember that Mac Gargan briefly appeared in Spider-Man Homecoming, played by Michael Mondo, but at that time he didn't have his iconic supervillain suit yet. Well, that has clearly changed. The trailer reveals a massive mechanized Scorpion suit with a deadly tail that looks incredibly dangerous. And judging by the action shots, Spider-Man and Scorpion are going to have some intense battles throughout the movie. After nearly a decade of waiting, it looks like the MCU is finally paying off that setup from Homecoming.
We are faced with a danger that we can't control.
Comic book moments come to life. One of the coolest aspects of the trailer is how many classic comic book images it recreates. There's an incredible slow-motion shot of Spider-Man swinging through New York while carrying a criminal under his arm. That moment directly references the cover of Amazing Fantasy 15, which is the very first appearance of Spider-Man in Marvel history. Seeing that iconic image recreated in live action feels like a love letter to longtime comic fans. And that's not the only reference.
And sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart.
Boomerang and Tarantula join the villains. Another villain introduced in the trailer is Boomerang, who appears in a stylized slow-motion scene throwing his signature weapon while Spider-Man dodges through the air. In the comics, Boomerang, whose real name is Fred Myers, actually ends up becoming Peter Parker's roommate for a while. Whether the MCU will adapt that strange friendship is still unknown, but it would definitely add some comedic chaos to Peter's already complicated life. We also briefly see Tarantula fighting Spider-Man in what looks like a montage of different encounters. This sequence might show how Peter has been spending most of his time since No Way Home. constantly patrolling New York and fighting criminals while completely ignoring his personal life. Basically, Spider-Man has become his entire identity. Is Peter becoming Man-Spider? Toward the end of the trailer, we get a very unsettling shot. Peter's eyes suddenly turn completely black. No white lenses, no human eyes, just darkness. That moment could hint that his mutation is getting worse. In the comics, Peter once transformed into a monstrous creature known as Man-Spider after his spider DNA began mutating out of control. If the movie is going in that direction, Peter might literally become the kind of monster he usually fights against. But there's also another possibility. The trailer earlier showed people having their minds controlled, so Peter's black eyes could indicate that something or someone is taking over his mind as well. Either way, it's not a good sign. The Return of the Hand. The final action sequence of the trailer features Spider-Man fighting members of the Hand. Fans of Marvel's street-level stories already know this secretive ninja organization from Daredevil. They're deadly, mysterious, and deeply connected to dark supernatural forces. At one point, Spider-Man is fighting them inside what appears to be a prison while he isn't even wearing his mask. In a particularly awesome moment, Peter snaps one of their swords apart using his webbing. Then the trailer ends with a dramatic slow-motion shot of Spider-Man leaping toward multiple hand warriors between two buildings as the title card appears. It's one of the most cinematic Spider-Man moments we've seen in years.
Hi, my name is Peter Parker.
Peter's quiet watch over MJ. And finally, the trailer ends on a quieter but emotional note. It's revealed that Peter Parker actually lives in the same neighborhood as MJ and Ned. They have no idea he's nearby, but he's clearly keeping an eye on them from a distance. It's kind of heartbreaking when you think about it. Peter saved them by letting them forget him, but that also means he has to watch their lives continue without him. And yet, the trailer also briefly shows Spider-Man and MJ together again, hinting that their story might not be over after all. Maybe that letter will finally be delivered. Or maybe Peter will realize that some sacrifices can't last forever. Either way, Tom Holland's Spider-Man looks like he's about to face one of the most complicated chapters of his life when Spider-Man Brand New Day finally hits theaters. And if this trailer is anything to go by, this movie isn't just another Spider-Man adventure. It's the beginning of an entirely new Spider-Man era.
Because I'm not just Peter Parker. I'm...
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.